Okay, students, after learning the positive and negative radicals, now it is the time to learn the next thing, that is formation of molecular formula. All right, so it's a very easy concept, and to determine the percentage of composition, this is really very easy concept, so it will not take much time to complete this particular topic. So say for example, formation of molecules. Okay, so I'll be using what? One acid radical and plus basic radical, or basic radical plus acid radical, but the molecule will have the final molecule will have net charge that is equal to what? 0. Okay, so for example, if I take Na plus, this is what? This is a basic radical. Okay, and I take acid radical as PO3 3 minus. Okay, so now I have to make this net charge 0. So if you see, this is the charge, this is charge plus 1, this is charge minus 3. So to make net charge 0, what I need to do is I have to add 3 sodium ions. Okay, so when I make 3 sodium ions, the total charge will be equal to what? Plus 3 plus 1 phosphite ions. Okay, so net charge will be equal to what? Plus 3 and minus 3, that is equal to what? 0. Alright, fine. Now whenever I am writing, I will be always preferring to write the basic radical first. In writing the name, in naming, I'll first write basic radical, then it will follow by the acidic radical. For example, in this case, if you say this is sodium, this is neither sodiumous or sodiumic because it is univalent, so it is sodium. So I'll be writing what? This is sodium. All right, then it is what? Phosphite. It is phosphite. Okay, so this is sodium phosphite. And how I will make the molecular formula is this compound of this compound? This will be Na. So this is a crisscross method where how many Na atoms I will need? 3. So it will be written as Na3. So always remember, number of atom is always written in the subscript and charge of atom is always written on the superscript. Okay, so this is superscript, this is subscript. So I'll be using 3 atoms of Na, so Na3, and I'll be using one whole acidic radical. So this will be, because I cannot speak, I am using phosphate atom or oxygen. No, this is whole as a radical. Okay, so this will be PO3 with 1. So again it is written as crisscross also, where charge of this is written as number of atom in opposite and charge of this is written as number of atom opposite. So 3 will be here and 1 will be here. So it will be like this. This is also represented by a crisscross method. So ultimately I can write like this, Na3 PO3. Why? Because here I am using only one molecule of PO3. I am not using extra molecules of this particular acidic radical. So this is written as Na3PO3 and this is the formula, and it is written as what? Sodium phosphite. Okay, so now we will have another task to calculate the molecular formula, molecular weight and percentage composition of Na3PO3. Alright, so we will do it over here. So what will be the molecular weight? Okay, so you make like this. Sodium, how many atoms? 3 atoms. Okay, what is the atomic weight or atomic mass of sodium? 23. Okay, and total mass, so here it will be what? 23 into 3, so this will come out to be equal to 69. So this is about only one atom, sodium, in Na3PO4 or PO3, sorry. Okay, then I am having phosphorus. How many atoms? 1. What is atomic weight? 31. So what will be the total mass contribution? 1 into 31 into 1, that is equal to 31. Oxygen, atoms how many? 3. What is the weight? 16. So this will be equal to what? 16 into 3. So that is 48. So total will be 148. So 148 will be what? Molecular weight of Na3PO4. So molecular weight of PO3 is equal to 148. And what is the unit of this? It is gram per mole. How can you remember? See, this is what? Molecular weight. This is molecular weight. So what is the unit of weight? Gram. And divide it by mole. Okay, you take this molecular, from that you take mole and divide it by mole. So it will be what? Gram per mole. It's an easy technique to remember. Okay, so total molecular weight is what? 148. Okay, now we will see the percentage contribution. Okay, so let's check that of sodium. What is the percentage contribution of sodium? Okay, so see, to calculate it, it is very easy. Out of 148, the contribution of sodium is 69. So this will be what? 69 divided by 148, and that will come out to be somewhat 46.62%. Similarly, that of phosphorus is 31 out of 148. So the percentage contribution will be somewhere around 20.94. And this is 48. So 48 divided by 148. So that will be equal to what? 32.43%. So this is percentage contribution of each atom in the whole molecule. Okay, percentage contribution in regard of what? Mass. This is the percentage contribution of mass by each atom in the whole molecule. I hope this concept is clear. Sorry, I forgot to represent over here that we should multiply this by 100 to get the percentage composition. Alright, fine. Okay, now we'll take another example of ferric ferrocyanide. Ferric, or it is also called as ferriferrocyanide. Ferrocyanide. Okay. It is also called as Persian blue. A blue color complex it is. So ferriferrocyanide. Now ferric means Fe+3. Ferrocyanide is a single compound, that is FeCN6 to the power -4. Okay, so this is our basic radical and this is our acidic radical. Fine. Now if we need to balance, if you see carefully, the compound must have no charge. That means it should be electrically neutral. That means the charge must be balanced. So for that, what I need? I need 4 radicals of Fe+3. So the total charge 4 3s are 12. So total charge will be +12. And I will need 3 radicals of FeCN6 to the power -4. So in total charge will be -12. So net charge, if you add both of them, the net charge will be equal to 0. So to make this, I need 4 radicals of Fe+3 and 3 radicals of FeCN6 -4. Okay. So now let's make the formula. Even by crisscross, we can do the same. 3 will go at the bottom of this, 4 will go at the bottom of this. So the formula ultimately forms Fe4 FeCN6 thrice. Alright, now let's calculate the number of atoms. if you see carefully, Fe plus 3 or Fe plus 2, here Fe is in the oxidation state of plus 2, here it is in the oxidation state of plus 3. But it doesn't matter whether it is Fe in the oxidation state of plus 3 or Fe in the oxidation of plus 2, it has no impact on the atomic mass of Fe, because atomic mass is dependent upon what? Number of protons and neutrons, and it is not dependent upon the number of electrons, while the charge is dependent upon the number of electron. Here there is elimination of 3 electron, here there is elimination of 2 electrons, that's it. So whether it is Fe plus 3 or Fe plus 2, while calculating mass, it is not of any importance. So I need to calculate Fe only, the atom, and if you see carefully, these are 4 atoms and these are 3 atoms, so Fe total atom will be 7. Okay, and what will be the mass of Fe? The mass of Fe is A is equal to 56. Okay, same way, now I am having carbon 6 3s are 18, so carbon will be 18 carbon atoms will be there. Then I am having nitrogen, so same number of carbon and nitrogen, 6 3s are 18. Alright, so here carbon is having atomic mass 12 and this is having atomic mass 14. Okay, so this is our molecular formula. Okay, now we will calculate molecular weight. So if we calculate molecular weight and contribution, so first of all we will calculate molecular weight. What is Fe? Fe, there are 7 atoms of Fe, that implies 7 into 56, that will come out to be equal to 392. Okay, then I am having 18 number of carbon, that means 18 into carbon atomic number 12, that will somewhere around 216. Then I am having 18 number of nitrogen, so the nitrogen will have 18 into 14 and that will be equal to 252. So if I make a total, molecular weight will be equal to 860, and as I have told you that 860 I cannot write as such 860, I have to write gram per mole. Okay, now we will calculate the percentage contribution. Fine. So what will be the percentage contribution of Fe? That will be equal to what? Very simple, 392 divided by 860 into 100. So that will come out around 45.57%. Similarly, percentage of carbon, that will be equal to what? 216 divided by 860 into 100, and that will come out to be equal to somewhere around 25.11. Percentage of nitrogen, that will be equal to what? Somewhere around 252 divided by 860 into 100, that will come around 29.30 something. So these are the what? Percentage of iron, percentage carbon, percentage nitrogen in the with respect to mass in the formula Fe4 FeCN6 thrice, that is ferric ferrocyanide. Is that clear? So I hope that now this percentage calculation and molecular weight calculation is clear to all of you. Okay, now I'll take another example, same example. Say calcium oxide. Alright, so calcium oxide is what? Ca plus 2. Oxide is what? O2 minus. If you do the crisscross, it will be what? Ca2O2. But we have to take the LCM, least common factor. So that will be what? 2. So I will be having the formula CaO. Okay, that thing we need to understand that here I cannot write Ca2O2. I have to take the least common factor 2 is the least common factor in both of them. So the formula will come out to be equal to what? Calcium oxide as CaO. Is that clear? Similarly, if you have another example, we can take aluminum nitride. Aluminum nitride. Okay. Aluminum nitride, Al is plus 3, N is minus 3. Do the crisscross or balance the charge, whatever you do, it will come out to be equal to what? Al3, N3. Take the LCM, least common factor is 3, so it will be written as Aln. Is that clear? Okay, so in totality now we have finished with the formation of molecular formula by using the radicals. Alright, now we switch to the next part. Now the next part is balancing the chemical equation. Okay, how we are going to Alright, how we are going to balance any chemical equation. Now there are two methodologies. First methodology is trial and error. You try and you get the answer. Another is apply quadratic equations. Okay, so the easiest method is trial and error. Many a times you are able to do the solution of the equation for balancing by trial and error method, but sometimes this trial and error method does not work when the equation is little bit complex. So today I will teach you by both the methods how you can balance the equation, as well as some short tricks for balancing the equations. Fine. So first we'll take one equation. Say for example we'll balance today first equation. Let me take Zn plus HNO3, basically it is concentrated HNO3, gives ZnNO3 twice plus NO2 plus H2O. This is one equation. Another equation we can take is KOH plus Cl2 gives KCl plus KClO plus H2O. Okay, these two equations we will take. Now let's solve this equation by both the methods. I'll take the first equation, that is Zn plus HNO3 gives ZnNO3 twice plus NO2 plus H2O. Okay, so let's first solve this by trial and error method. Okay, in trial and error method always remember one thing. First balance metals, then balance non-metals, okay, then you balance hydrogen, and then you balance oxygen. Okay, by this method you can work. Generally if you follow this chronological order, almost all equations are solved. Okay, now let's apply in this particular equation first. So first let us say metals. Okay, generally metals are, as I have told you that in your syllabus there are very limited number of metals, so you can easily identify the metals in the equation. So say for example here there is zinc as the metal. So if you see carefully on the left hand side and on the right hand side, I am going to write on the left hand side and I am going to write on the right hand side. So here zinc, how many zinc atoms are there? 1. On right hand side how many zinc atoms are there? 1. Okay, so zinc is balanced, no need to change. Okay, now let's go for the next non-metals. If you see non-metals, nitrogen and nitrogen. If you see nitrogen on the left hand side, we are having only 1, but on the right hand side there is 2 plus 1 3. So nitrogen I am having 3 on the left hand side. So now let's first balance the nitrogen. So as soon as I put 3 on this part of HNO3, so the nitrogen is now balanced as 3, and on the right hand side also it is 3. Alright, now let's balance the hydrogen. Hydrogen, if you check, now it is over here, it is 3 hydrogen atoms. Okay, and on the right hand side number of hydrogen atoms are 2. Then how to balance? Then what we need to do is that see here, if you see carefully, hydrogen is 2. That means whatever number if I apply over here, it will be always an even number. Why it will be always even number? Because here it will be always, that number will be multiplied by 2. So I cannot keep hydrogen as odd over here. Okay, so next two odd number, next even number to 3 will be 4. So let me keep 4 over here. If I keep 4 over here and if I keep 2 over here, okay, so then if you check, okay, post process, what happens, that hydrogen will be 4 over here, and here also hydrogen will be 4. Okay, but here now we need to check, nitrogen is 4 now, but here if you see, how many nitrogen? 2 plus 1 3. So what I can do, I can put over here the 2. So if I put over here 2, 2 plus 2 4, so then also nitrogen is balanced. Okay, now last part will be the oxygen. See, if I am considering with respect to 4, now 3 I need to eliminate, 4 3s are 12, so oxygen will be 12 over here. And here if I check, 3 2s are 6, 6 plus 2 2s are 4, 4 plus 2 6, so 6 plus 4 10 plus 2 12. Oxygen is also 12. 3 2s are 6, 2 2s are 4, 6 plus 4 10 plus 12. So ultimately now this equation is balanced. So what will be the balanced equation now? The balanced equation will be Zn plus 4HNO3, that gives ZnNO3 twice plus 2NO2 plus 2H2O. So it is balanced at present. Alright, this equation is completely balanced. Now we will see the quadratic method for balancing this particular equation. Okay, so for considering the quadratic method, so I am having Zn plus HNO3, that gives ZnNO3 twice plus NO2 plus H2O. Okay, now what you need to do is you apply the coefficients A, B, C, D and E. Now here if I take the coefficients, as soon as I solve this coefficient and I put the value over here, the equation will be balanced. Okay, now how to consider the coefficient? Say for example, take a metal zinc. Okay, on the left hand side I am having the coefficient as A. On the right hand side I am having the coefficient as C. So I will write A equal to C. This is my first quadratic equation. Similarly, I will make the equation for hydrogen. Hydrogen will be B. Coefficient of hydrogen is B over here. If you see carefully here, that is E, but it is not only E, it is with 2 atoms of hydrogen, so it will be 2E. Alright, then I am having nitrogen over here. See, nitrogen is having the coefficient as B. Okay, over here if you see, it is 2 nitrogen with coefficient C, so I will be having 2C. Again there is one more nitrogen is over here with one coefficient and D, so it will be 2C plus D. Okay, so and we frame the last equation, that is with respect to oxygen, that will be equal to what? 3B that will be equal to 3 to the 6 oxygen, 6C, 3 to the 6 oxygen, 6C, okay, plus 2D, because it is on the same side, so I am going to add, so 2D plus E. Okay, still if you are not able to understand, you can go back and again see the video. Once you hold the grip on this particular thing, then the task will be very easy. Now next thing what you need to do is, you can assume any of this coefficient as 1. So generally I assume the coefficients which are repeatedly seen in these equations, like B. I am able to see B 3 times in the equation. So normally I take this B or the coefficient which are repeated as equal to 1. You can take any coefficient as equal to 1. No issue. Alright. In any condition you are going to get the correct answer only. Okay, provided you do the correct calculation. Okay. Then if you apply over here, when I say B is equal to 1, then 1 equals to 2E. Then that implies E is equal to 1 by 2. So I am having one more coefficient value, E equals to 1 by 2. Now what to do? I have to solve A, C and D. If you see carefully, if I solve C, then the same value will be of A. So we need not to worry, we need to solve only C and D, and that can be done easily by considering these two equations. How? See, if you see this equation, I am having the value of B as well as of E. Now what I will do? I will pick the value of D, right, from this equation. So what I am getting, 1 equals to 2C plus D, and therefore I am getting D that is equal to 1 minus 2C. Alright, simple maths. Now substitute this value in this equation. 3B that is equal to 6C plus 2, 1 minus 2C plus E. Now I'll substitute the value of B also, B and as well as E. So this will be 3 into 1, that will be to 6C plus 2 minus 4C plus 1 by 2. Alright, so if you calculate this, then it will be what? 3 is equal to 2C plus 5 by 2. So 3 minus 5 by 2, that is equal to 2C. So ultimately the value of 2C will be equal to what? 1 by 2. That implies C is equal to what? 1 by 4. If this C is equal to 1 by 4, then I am getting the value A also equal to 1 by 4 from equation 1. I am having A equals to C. So if C is equal to 1 by 4, A is also equal to 1 by 4. Alright. Now the last equation, the last coefficient, that is D. D is equal to 1 minus 2C. I got the value of C as 1 by 4. So D is equal to 1 minus 2 into 1 by 4. So that will be equal to what? 1 by 2. Answer will be equal to what? 1 by 2. Okay. So this answer is equal to 1 by 2. But generally we don't keep the equations in in decimal. That means this will be 1 by 4, 1 by 4, 1 by 2. What we will do, we'll multiply with such a common factor which will give me the whole number for each and every coefficient. So if you see carefully, if I multiply it with 4, everything, then I will be getting the whole numbers only as the answers. So A will be equal to what? 1. 4 into 1 is 4. C, 1 by 4 into 4, that will be equal to what? 1. 1 by 2 into 4, that will be equal to 2. 1 by 2 into 4, this will be equal to 2. So now I have the value of A equal to 1, B equal to 4, C is equal to 1, D equal to 2 and E also equal to 2. So substitute the values. So A equal to 1, so let it be zinc, plus B value is 4, so that is 4 HNO3. Gives C value is again equal to 1, I am having ZnNO3 twice. D value is also equal to 2, 2NO2. plus 2H2O. Okay, now if you compare this equation, that is the equation which I solved by heat trial method, and the equation which I have solved by this quadratic equation method, both are giving the same results. Okay, so this is equation solved by heat and trial, and this is equation solved by this quadratic equation method. Both will be giving the same results. So this method will be helpful to you when you are not able to solve by your common heat and trial method. Okay, this method will be very helpful to you. Let me take another example. Okay, now the another example, as we have discussed, we are going to take what? KOH plus Cl2 gives KCl plus KClO plus H2O. Now if you see by heat and trial, first let us check the metals. Metal over here is 1, so K left hand side and right hand side. K equals to 1, here K equals to what? 2. 1 plus 1, 2. So if I apply over here, if I multiply this by 2, then here also K will be 2 and here also K will be 2. So potassium is balanced by using the coefficient 2. Now next, non-metals except oxygen and hydrogen. So non-metal I will take chlorine. Chlorine here is 2. Over here 1 plus 1, 2. So chlorine equals to 2 on both the sides. Then if you check the third one, okay, the third one if you check, that is hydrogen. Hydrogen over here is 2, left hand side, right hand side hydrogen is 2. Alright, now let's check the oxygen. Oxygen here is equal to 2 and oxygen also here is equal to 2. Okay, so by heat and trial I am easily able to solve this equation. Once I put over here 2, then the equation is completely solved. So it is 2 KOH plus Cl2 gives KCl plus KClO plus H2O. It's balanced. Okay, you can do by this quadratic equation method also. I'll just show you that how to do it again. If you feel that certain equations are not able to solve by this method, then by heat and trial, then only you move for that quadratic equation method. But you learn that equation thoroughly. Why I am telling you is because that if you don't learn that equation thoroughly and you are trapped where you don't know to solve the equations by heat and trial method at that time, if you have learned that method, then it will be useful to you. So for learning, you practice that equation for say 10-15 equations, and that will make you completely comfortable with that equation. Okay, now apply the coefficients A, B, C, D and E and put over here A, B, C, D and E like this way. Okay, and if you put up like this, now say for potassium A is equal to C plus D. For oxygen A is equal to D plus E. Okay, here you can find D and here you can find E. Then for hydrogen you are having A is equal to 2E. Okay, so sorry, it was disconnected while I was making the video and I was unaware of this. So you can solve hydrogen A equals to 2E, chlorine will be 2B is equal to C plus D. Now if you see carefully, A is equal to C plus D and 2B is also equal to C plus D. So I am having 2B equals to A, C, both are C plus D. So A equal 2B is equal to A. So I am getting the value B is equal to 1 by 2. Alright, because A equals to 1, B is equal to 1 by 2. Similarly, A is equal to 2E. So 1 equals to 2E, so E also is equal to 1 by 2. Okay, I got the value E equals to 1 by 2. Then I am having the value of d. I want to find the value of d. Substitute the value of a and e. 1 is equal to d plus 1 half. So d is also equal to what? 1 by 2. Similarly, I can have c value as 1 by 2. Now if you put over here all the values 1, 1 by 2, 1 by 2, 1 by 2. So as I have told you, I cannot keep all these values into decimal. What I will do, I will multiply with the common factor such that I can get the whole number. So if I multiply this by 2, everything, so this will be equal to 2, 1, 1 and 1. If I substitute over here, I will get the equation balanced and the value will be same as I have balanced by heat and trial method. Alright, so this equation works everywhere. Only you need to think is first you need to understand how to frame the equation and then to take any of the coefficient as 1. Once you take any of the coefficient as 1, then rest of the matter is completely solved. Here I have taken a is equal to 1. You can take in different types of equation, you can take any coefficient as 1, you will get the answer perfectly.